People are always asking me, B, when are you going to do the Romance Journey book tag? They're all over the place asking, when are you going to do this tag? Well, now. Hi, my name's B, and welcome to my channel, Mama Needs to Read Romance, and do this book tag already. Many moons ago, April of Happily Ever April tagged me in this Romance Journey book tag, and I am finally getting around to it. I am terrible at getting to book tag videos, and I'm very sorry about that. I hope this is valuable to you. This is my walk down memory lane. Maybe it can be a little bit for you as well. Let's see how we overlap, shall we? The first question is about how old were you when you started reading romance, and do you remember the first romance you read? Oh, yes. 2008, my sister dragged all of us at Thanksgiving, I think, to see Twilight. It was terrible. I was like, what is this? And then we went to a bookstore not long after that, and I saw, of course, at the time, everything was Twilight. There was a table in the middle of Barnes & Noble, piled high with Twilight books, and I grabbed it, and I'm flipping through it like, this was so dumb. And I'll never forget, I was at the part where Carlisle is in the hospital with Bella after she had just been almost hit by that truck, and Edward, saves it with his hand. And so I'm reading Carlisle and Bella discussing that, and it was like I just got sucked right in. I was just like all those teenagers back then who were completely obsessed. Although I knew women that were in their 40s and 50s who were also completely obsessed. At the time, I was 27, so it was a couple years ago. Number 2, did you deliberately seek out romance or did you stumble upon it, and how? Well, I kind of answered this already. My sister dragged me into romance. Do you know, by the way, that she's never seen any more of the Twilight movies and never read one of the books? How about that? Question 3, did you start with traditionally published or indie, and has it switched? Well, let's see. Was Twilight indie? Could have been. Well, initially it was, right? Because it was fan fiction. No, that's not true. That's how 50 Shades of Grey started. I've never read those, actually. But Twilight was obviously mainstream, not indie at all. And I read indie and traditionally published texts today. Question 4, what was a romance trope you were afraid to try but ended up loving? If you followed my channel at all, you know the answer to that one. Planet Barbarians. I was not interested in this at all. I was like, no, there's no way I would read this. And then my viewers were talking about how much they loved it, and so I tried it, and now I'm completely sucked in. I'm currently reading book 13. Absolutely going to read the rest of the series, and there's 2 spin-off series. I'm in it for that as well. But yes, Planet Barbarians all the way. Question number 5, is there a romance book you read early on in your journey that you would rate differently today? Okay, again, going back to my roots here with Twilight. I loved the last book, Breaking Dawn, but I would have preferred for her to pick Jacob. So, having said that, I would rate Breaking Dawn not as high as I did at the time, because I certainly drank the Kool-Aid and it was like, Edward seems great. All right, we'll go with it. But looking back, I'm like, still Team Jacob. Question number 6, how has your taste in romance evolved over the years? This is the longest stretch I've gone reading romance, so that's been a change, because it would be 2008 when that whole wave hit, and then Emily Giffin in like 2011, that was the big wave, and then I completely forgot about romance after that. I had never read historical romance. I just thought that was not going to be for me. I watched an interview on CBS Sunday Morning of Eloisa James. I was so impressed by the way she talked about romance. I thought, I'm going to try her. So I read all 9 books in her Desperate Duchesses and Desperate Duchesses by the Number series, and this was probably 5 years ago. And then I said, no more romance, I'm good. But I think you do get to a point with Eloisa James, if you read too many of her books in a row, you might need to take a break. So maybe I should have branched out further, but I thought after that, it was not for me. In terms of evolving, I am definitely a historical romance fan now. Question number 7, what is the most powerful romance that you've read that left a lasting impact? I have 2, actually, and I don't talk about them all that much, or maybe I do. The first one is Any Duchess Will Do. Having 2 children with special needs myself, I was so incredibly touched by Pauline in this book, and how she, as a sibling of a child with special needs, makes decisions for her life based on how it will impact her special needs sibling. The way that she does it, it's just so endearing and so heartening. Is heartening a word? I know disheartening is a word, but is heartening a word? If it is, this book is heartening. And the other one, Love and Other Words. I think about this book all the time. Macy and Elliot and the jumping back and forth in time to see what caused the rift in their relationship and to see if it can be resolved and the ways that everything gets resolved. Oh, I love this book. It stayed with me for sure. What was the romance book that told you that this is what I am looking for in my personal life and or partner? When I started romance, I was already engaged to my husband. I can tell you this book fits the bill most for what I would look for in a husband, and I would say it's Life's Too Short, Aaron Copland. This man, I say it all the time, cinnamon roll hero, he's my favorite. He steps up. He deals with her family's stuff, as we do when we get married. We don't marry just the person, we marry their family too. Often. And he deals with her family stuff. He steps in with a tiny baby. He helps take care of a dog. Like, he's just caring. He's nurturing. He's flexible. He's slow to anger. These are the types of things that I don't know what I would do if they were not also traits of my husband. I'm so thankful that the person that I wound up with, we just celebrated 14 years actually, is a person just like Aaron Copland. Question number 9. Which romance books would you recommend to a romance newbie and a seasoned romance reader? This is hard, and I feel like I haven't been a romance expert long enough to really say good answers, especially for the seasoned romance reader. I would say for the romance newbie, if you want to do historical, The Duchess Deal. This one is lighter, but there is an emotional depth to it. It's very humorous. You just get sucked in to the love that these two people share for one another. I enjoyed this book immensely. I would say 5 or 6 stars even. So this one for a newbie who's never read historical romance before, for sure. And then for the seasoned romance reader who's been around a while, I would just recommend something that's new, which they may not have read yet, although they probably have, which is If Only You, which I just finished this afternoon and gave 5 stars to. It is lovely. It's the 6th book in the Bergman Brothers series, where we have a bad boy and a good girl. It's Grumpy Sunshine, which I don't tend to go for. However, Chloe Leese really sells the change that he undergoes in order to be worthy of her. I loved this slow burn, and I love this ensemble cast and the family. It's really, really good. Okay, the last question. In your eyes, what are 3 perfect romances? I'm going to say ones I haven't said already, because the ones I said already are pretty close. Again, The Magic by Lisa Kleypas. It's the prequel to the Wallflower series. It is so full of angst and tension and love. There's a lot of loving in this book because there's 2 couples featured, but I loved this second chance romance, and I don't even like second chance romances, I don't think, but I loved this one. They're teenage sweethearts who get ripped apart, and he comes back with a vengeance, but maybe they fall for one another. It's so passionate. It's so powerful. I loved it so much. For contemporary romance, I gotta go with Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. We have a doctor and a mayor from a small town. They're in 2 different worlds, hence the title. He's, of course, the cinnamon roll hero. But it was really interesting watching them navigate this relationship, and of course, the happily ever after was just wonderful. I found myself tearing up at the end, just seeing the 2 of them so happy together because they're both such great people, and I love this author so much. And the last one I haven't mentioned in a while, Don't Hex and Drive. It's a paranormal romance. It's book 2 of the Stay a Spell series by Juliet Cross. These are witches who find their happily ever afters with other supernaturals, and this is Isadora Savoy who finds her happily ever after with Stygorn, which is of course a warrior vampire who is also a Bollywood actor named Devraj Kumar. He's so yummy. I can't even stand it. He seems kind of cocky at first. She breaks those walls down, and actually she's got quite a few walls to break down as well. He has to be very, very sneaky in the way that he seduces her because she is not easily seduced. And it was so much fun to watch. So those were my answers. I want to thank April of Happily Ever April for tagging me. I also want to thank Bex Reads, who originally created this tag. I would like to tag Brandy of Brandy Reads, Tara of Tara Talks Books, and Kelly Ann Mitchell of Kelly the Bookworm to see if they can do the Romance Journey book tag next. No pressure, ladies. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying whatever it is you're reading. Until next time, thanks so much. Take care. Bye.